we have seen 2 negative quarters of GDP growth, which is the latest sign we may be headed for a recession. Some economists are saying we're already there. The president and the chair of the Federal Reserve have pushed back on that. Joining us now is senior advisor to President Biden, Gene Sperling. Gene, thank you so much for your time tonight. Without debating the semantics of whether or not we are in a recession, there are economic forces that don't bode well. Russia's land war in Ukraine, 40-year high inflation on basics, food, gas, rent, consumer sentiment falling. Americans are squeezed. Some of these factors beyond anyone's control. But how concerned are you that this economic contraction brings on a lasting slowdown?
I think what's important is for people to have a balanced view of the economy. So everyone recognizes that even with gas prices now down 77 cents in the last 30, 40 days, that prices are too high, families are feeling squeezed, pinch at the gas pump and the grocery line. But it's also important to recognize that we created 2.7 million jobs, the economy did, over the first 6 months. Now, other than last year, that is the strongest job growth in the first half of a year in the history of the United States, when unemployment's at 3.6%. So it's important to recognize that we do face the challenges that you're saying, but we also have a historically strong job market, which we think offers a degree of resilience.
Gene, to your point, it is hard to talk about a recession in some cases when you're adding 400,000 jobs a month, but what we've seen with wage growth is really concerning. So that is to say that people are getting wage increases, but it's far falling short of these inflationary costs. What is the White House doing to bring costs down?
Well, there's things that, obviously the Federal Reserve is the main part of the government that deals with inflation, but there are things that the government can do. Some of those through executive action, some require Congress. The president has released the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, $1 million a day. We think that's probably contributed to about 40 cents of the decrease in gas prices. But there's also legislative things we're pushing right now. The reconciliation bill you're hearing about, the Inflation Reduction Act, that would cap prescription drug prices, lower prescription drug prices, lower energy costs, lower health premiums for 13 million Americans. Those are things that may not be directly going at every degree of inflation, but they help the bottom line for American consumers.
I'm going to come back to the point that you're making on gasoline, but first, I'm just looking through this analysis of the bill that you just talked about, this Inflation Reduction Act. And University of Pennsylvania's Wharton Business School found the act would slightly increase inflation until 2024 and then decrease inflation. Do you agree with those findings? And if so, what do you tell, let's just say, a single parent who is paying crazy grocery bills and trying to fill up the tank and trying to pay rent, maybe in a city where the rent is going up 30%?
Look, it's good to have a diversity of opinions, but we think the overwhelming economic consensus is that the Inflation Reduction Act will reduce inflation throughout the plan. And you should know we've had disagreements with many of our friends at times, including Senator Manchin, including my friend Larry Summers. But note that all of them have agreed that this would be anti-inflationary. And the reason why is that it reduces the deficit, which helps tamp down on inflation. We understand the gut punch people feel at the grocery line and at the gas pump, even with prices coming down.
You said, cycling back to the gas point that you raised, 2 of the largest companies in the U.S., ExxonMobil, Chevron, reporting record profits in the second quarter. Exxon actually saying that it earned more than 3 times what it earned a year ago in this quarter. What are your conversations like with leaders in the energy industry? I mean, do they need to be held accountable for some of the spread that they are taking on these profits?
You know, gas prices were at about $3.30 on January 17th when Putin started moving troops into Belarus. The fact that they've gone up around $2 a gallon around the world is a direct response to war and unthinkable aggression. While gas prices have come down, 12, 13, 14%, oil prices are down even more, and we need to see that reduction in oil prices reflected at the pump. We don't need oil companies simply recording record profits or doing share buybacks. We need them to be putting those dollars to use, increasing supply so that we can bring down gas prices for the American families.
Gene, thank you. Senior advisor to President Biden, Gene Sperling, joining us there.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.